What's about in the UK, and you guys are so much interested in retention and fixed retainers and twin block and IPR? I mean, what is all that? I thought we had settled all these things, that you got to have a retention after you finish orthodontic treatment.
Well, you got to have retention, but you got to have something that works. Lots of the long-term research, I tend to think that there are unanswered issues around retention in particular. We look at seminal work of Little and others in Washington, and basically I think what that showed us is that teeth move throughout life and we require some form of retainer. If we don't retain, we're going to have maturational changes predominantly. So I suppose the question we've got to ask ourselves is, are we trying to mitigate against pure relapse after orthodontic treatment? Because I tend to think that occurs within the first 24 months in particular. Or are we trying to retain the outcome long term and kind of prevent those maturational changes? That is a real challenge. And I think increasingly, if we're treating milder problems, we've got to retain things really, really well in the long term. Otherwise, actually, it might look that we haven't achieved too much. And I think it's actually long-term retention is the issue.
But isn't relapse a part of aging process? Charlie Burstone edited a book about 30 years ago, and we had a big conference in Connecticut. The essence of the whole meeting in the end was that relapse is an aging process. You can retain as much you want, but somewhere along the line, their teeth will start moving back to their original position or even in new positions. We think that orthodontics should be done at least twice or 3 times during the lifetime.
I mean, that might be the case.
That will keep us going as a profession.
I think it will keep going anyway. Lots of people will continue to want and require orthodontic treatment. I mean, I think you've got to consider what is acceptable to a patient and equally to a practitioner, but there are various presentations that might be acceptable to one person that won't be to another. And I think we've got to have the ability to understand what is achievable, and this is what this type of research will hopefully highlight. Yeah. So I do think the long term, we still haven't kind of cracked that one.